G'day golfers. Well, if you play on a tree-lined golf course like this one, you're going to need to learn to escape from the rough, to be able to keep it low under the branches of the trees, and maybe even shape the shot to get down the fairway a little bit more. We've had a request from Gary on how to play these shots, how to escape from the trees, how to keep it low under branches. So we're going to show you 3 different shots that we use pretty much every round that we play on these golf courses to help you get back in play. Welcome to Aussie Golf Pros. So here's a typical example. You miss the fairway, you're in the rough, plenty of trees around, and you need to have that basic chip out shot to get you back in play. So we have the option there of going for the green through that narrow gap. I've deemed that too risky. That gap's too far away, and although a top tour player might be able to pull that shot off, I'm going to decide, right, that's not worth it. That's going to bring double or triple into play. So we're going to go for the basic chip out shot. Chip being the operative word. That's the mistake a lot of golfers make. They tend to choose a 4 or a 5 iron, and when you're coming out of the rough, the 4 or 5 iron isn't very effective. You want a little bit more loft than that. You wouldn't chip with a 4 or 5 iron, or mostly not. You tend to have a chip and run shot with a 7 or an 8, and that's what I'm going to choose here, just to get myself back out in play. See, the 4 or 5 iron, a lot of people use that coming out of the trees to try to keep it low, but it tends to be quite a shallow shot through the grass, and if you're in thicker rough, that can get snagged up. You end up only going a few meters and not getting out. Let's choose a little bit more loft and get the shaft forward. So let's put the 5 iron away. I'm going to go with an 8 here. So I need to keep it sort of lowish, but not too low. But the important thing here is to get the shaft forward. That helps me to get better contact. I'm going to hit the ball more cleanly, have less grass to go through. If I've got the shaft back here, then I've got to go through 4 or 5 inches of thick grass, and that can get snagged up. Don't think you really need to change the ball position. If you really need to keep it low, you can put it back in your stance a little, but the main thing is get that shaft forward. That reduces the loft of your shot, helps you get good contact and a crisp strike. Make sure you get it out on the fairway. The other thing to bear in mind is I've got around about 15 meters of rough there. I don't want to be running through that. I want to get over the rough, land out maybe in the semi-rough or on the fairway, not too hard that it goes right across the other side, but we don't want to roll it. We want to get over some of this thicker stuff. So as I said, a chip shot. So that means that the swing needs to be quite short and punchy. We want to be quite aggressive through it. And you want to pick your landing spot, same as you would a chip or a pitch to a green. We've obviously got to get it out onto the fairway. We don't want to be in the rough again. We've got to get a nice clean lie for the next shot. Shaft forward, short swing, nice and firm. Land it right up on the fairway there. Right in the middle, now I've got a good shot at the green. Yes, I haven't been able to advance it as far as I would have liked, but the fact is that there are a lot of trees there, and that would have been way too risky, bringing that double or triple into play. So remember, you don't need to hit a 4 or 5 iron to keep it low. You can just go with a 7 or an 8. You can see that was an 8 iron, didn't go very high. Because I had that shaft forward and I was able to get crisper contact, because I was using that extra loft rather than the 4 or 5 iron. So here's one that you'll come across quite often, a risk and reward shot. You can play the chip out through the trees there, just like we did, 7 or 8 iron, bump it up there maybe 70 or 80 meters and have a good shot in. I've got 175 meters to the green, and because we're on the left side of the fairway, me being right-handed, I really see that shot where we can hook it around the trees. It's going to keep quite low because we're hooking it. And I encourage the better players to be more aggressive with this shot, to really have a go. So I hit 6 iron, 160. As I said, we've got 175 meters. And I reckon I can get 6 iron there because when you hook a shot, it's going to actually go further and obviously go lower, and it's going to roll a little bit. I've got a couple of bunkers up there, but try and thread it between them. We'll see how we go. So in order to hit that hook shot, we're going to just close the face there quite a bit. Okay, just zoom in there. So I'm just going to turn that club face in, and that means I need to aim well off to the right-hand side. Now, closing that face is what's going to keep the ball down. It's also going to reduce the spin. So I'm confident that I can get a 6-iron underneath those trees, get it hooking and running up towards the green. And if I can get the right amount of draw on it, then we can thread between those bunkers and get it on the green. Ball position, I pretty much keep in the middle. So I normally have the ball position slightly forward with the 6-iron. I'm going to move this back a fraction. That helps me to keep it lower and to get a little bit more draw on the shot, because keeping the ball back in the stance just helps me to approach the ball a bit more from the inside, a bit easier to draw it. But I really am going to close that face in quite a bit. Let's see how we go. Shaft is forward again a little bit for that low shot. And I'm going to go for a full swing here. Yeah, I got low enough, maybe not quite enough hook on it, but that's up near the green, and that's going to give me a chance of getting up and down. And realistically, it's worth having a go at that. Even though it's a full swing and it's not quite as safe as just hitting the chip out to the fairway, the better players should definitely have a crack at this, because you're hooking it and there's not a lot of danger. As long as the lie's okay, I was in rough there, but it wasn't terrible. As long as you're not on a tree root or you've got a stick, next to the golf ball, check the lie out, make sure it's not going to pop straight up into the air and into the trees. But that's worth having a crack at. If you can hook a shot out of the trees and towards the green, then it's worth being a little bit more aggressive. Now for a right-hander, that's typically going to mean on the left side of the fairway, missing the fairway on the left. But for a left-hander, it's typically those shots that you've missed on the right-hand side. So this is the tougher proposition. Missed the fairway on the right-hand side, I'm right-handed. So now the shot, if I want to get it on the green, is to fade it around the trees, still keep it low, get it running up towards the green. Now the issue is when you fade a shot, that means you're opening the club face, that means you're adding loft. So if you use a 6 or a 7-iron, it's going to go straight up into the branches of the tree. So that's not going to work. So that means we need to keep it down 4-iron, 3-iron, that sort of club, so that we can get it fading but still keep it low. And even that is no guarantee that it's going to keep low. Anyone who's hit a slice with a driver even, which might only have 10 degrees of loft, knows that it can go very, very high, because you're opening the face and you are adding dynamic loft to the shot. So if you want to play the low cut shot, the low fade, you really have to make sure that your hands are forward, that we're getting that dynamic loft forward and reducing the amount of loft on the shot. So I'm actually going to choose a 4-iron for this shot. So I have around about 150 meters for this one. Now I hit my 4-iron 180, 185, but because I'm punch cutting it and putting so much curve on it, it's not going to go anywhere near that. So I need to hit this almost full distance from a 4-iron. So what I'm going to do setup wise, I am going to play it in the middle of my stance rather than normal forward position from a 4-iron. I'm really going to get that shaft forward, reduce that dynamic loft. I'm going to come down the grip a little as well. And in order to help us to keep low, I'm actually going to pick the club up steeper. I'm going to get an upright swing, really chop across the shot, and I'm going to keep that face open, but not lofted up high in the air. So we want that low fading shot. Now let's have a go. Really have to get that shaft forward, keep that loft down. And I'm going to aim well off to the left because I want that ball to start left and then curve around. There we go. Nice low, plenty of fade on it. Really like that. So that hasn't gone anywhere near as far as a normal 4-iron shot because of the fade curve, because of that slice. And also because I've abbreviated that follow through, that helps me to keep it lower, and just trying to hold that face off rather than hit my normal draw, which is really releasing the club, holding that face off, keeping that shaft forward, reducing that dynamic loft. All of that means it's not going to go too far. So you're not going to get a lot of distance with this unless you're a really powerful player. And you might even decide to go up to a 3-wood if you need that extra distance. The fact is that this is a risky shot and it's not for everybody. Your B and C graders, you're better off taking your chip out, getting out in the fairway, leaving yourself a wedge shot in, and you can still save your par or your bogey that way. But for the A graders, if you really feel like you can pull this shot off, then have a go. See if you can, obviously practice it on the range first, see if you can hit that big low cut, and once you feel like you can do it on the range, then by all means have a go out here. You won't know unless you try. So out of the 3 shots, we had 1 back out in the fairway, left myself about a wedge in. 1 I didn't draw enough, finished up in the bunker, and the fade got onto the green. So you really have to decide whether the risk is worth the reward. More often than not, just your basic chip out into the fairway is going to be your best option. But I really do encourage a lot of golfers to have a go at that low draw, because hitting a draw, hooding that club face, can obviously really help keep it low, and does keep it low, and you can be a bit more aggressive with the swing on that one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've got another video out that talks more about how to keep shots low. It includes the stinger shot, so pop into the corner here to have a look at that, and we'll be back next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?